Norwegian history. Norway first settlers were hunters and gatherers who arrived there shortly after the Ice Age. The country is famous for its Viking Age, a period believed to have started with the looting of the Lissenfarne monastery in England by Northern pirates in 793 AD. Vikings were Greek navigators and warriors who conquered many lands. Viking leader Harald Hårfagre unified Norway around 900 AD. King Olaf converted the people to Christianity a century later. The Viking Age ended in 1066 with the disappearance of the Norwegian king Harald Hårfagre. Oslo emerged as a center of power in the 13th century and continued to promote the Golden Age until the mid-14th century when the bubonic plague ravaged the city at various times in history. Norway was part of the Mark, and Sweden growing nationally like Norway from the peaceful cession of Sweden in 1905. Norway remained neutral during the World Wars, but was occupied by Nazis in 1940, who stormed through cities and villages to tell resistance. The royal family returned to power at the end of the war. In 1960, Norway joined the European Free Trade Association, and over the next 2 decades instituted reforms that made it in the large scale social democracy in Western Europe. Norway was achieved one of the highest standards of living in the world.
Norwegian clothing. Norwegians don't have many rules around dress codes and are particularly informal when it comes to choosing clothes for their daily life, even for work environments. Regular clothing for Norwegians is sportswear or jean pants, and those who wear formal eating or dress are generally bound by their professions. When the weather warrants it, Norwegians have no problem wearing shorts or bathing suits to take advantage of the sun's heat. So it's not surprising to find people with this type of outfit in commercial establishments or on the street in broad daylight.
Much has been learned about early music in Norway, with the appearance of physical artifacts found during archaeological excavations. Instruments such as the lore are included. Vikings and medieval sagas describe musical activity in the same way as accounts of priests and pilgrims from all over Europe who come to visit the tomb of Saint Olaf in Trondheim. In the late 19th century, Norway experienced economic growth conducive to further industrialization and urbanization. Music was established in the cities with the largest presence, and opera and symphony concerts are considered to be of good quality. In this era of prominent composers such as Edvard Grieg and Johann Svensson, an artist combined European traditions with Norwegian tones.
Country life is very important in Norway, has thousands of people, and the government has development police that have access to hospital, education centers, and shops of the best level for the standard of living equal to all of people who live in cities. Norwegian cities are not as big as other urban centers in Europe. For example, the capital Oslo only has 500,000 inhabitants, so the population is also distributed in other important cities in the territory and in rural areas.
For both those who live in cities and those who live in the countryside, Norway offers a number of outdoor activities depending on the time of year. There are open natural spaces very close to urban population, usually with appropriate and safe facilities for adults and children. So it is not surprising that Norwegians are very fond of hiking in the mix of natural. Ski center and other winter sports are common destinations for thousands of people, generating a culture very developed to outdoor activities.
Norwegian literature. Almost 100 years ago, Norwegian literature historian Harland Bigger say that Norwegian literature has two periods of flourishing. The first, which corresponds to the time of the Viking expedition and which lasts until the monarchy of the 13th century, and the second, which occurred in the 19th century. Although it was said a long time ago, it is still quite correct, but with an important addition. The second part of the 20th century and the first 20 years of this century offer in Norway an exceptional rich and varied literature, in which many women and in which there is a growing participation of the people who in the last half century have come from distant countries to take root in Norway, enrich the local culture.
Food in Norway. For Westerners, Norwegian dishes are not entirely strange, with main ingredients like fish, potatoes, eggs, vegetables, and rice. For professionals, students, and others with regular hours, lunch is usually consumed over a period of 30 minutes, around noon, and the dish may be accompanied by a glass of milk and bread, although many prefer a daily sandwich. The most common sandwiches are open sandwiches, which are made with separate slices with the meat or ham filling in between. Since the workday usually ends in the afternoon, dinner becomes a more important, nutritious and elaborate dish between 5 and 6 in the afternoon. Dinners at a later time are really unusual.
Norwegian art. Many of teachers admire the work of Erbat Munch and other Norwegians and international artists in Norway. But museums and galleries which relieve and specialists enjoy fantastic work on urban art and expect place, or take a stroll through beautiful outdoor sculpture parks. Edvard Munch, while famous painter, Edvard Munch earned a lane in place history with works of art that recognize the influence of his restless spirit in Norwegian nature, discussed the creator of the emblematic work of art El Grito. Urban art in Norway. Norway is like great outdoor exhibition. And 3. Look this way and this discovery about collection of sprays made outward. The William Martin, Bradal, and Monsen fascinate about urban art. Show us some the best place in Norway to admire graffiti and murals.
People in Norway. Norwegians are reserved, sincere, and humble as general characteristics, without establishing great social differences, which means that individuals who occupy a higher rank tend to consult those of lower rank, and that long-term friendships are formed between people of different backgrounds with great ease. For foreigners from Western countries, one of the main differences is that Norwegians do not tend to socialize with unknown people and prefer to spend their free time with family or alone, so being an extrovert can be a double-edged sword. Norwegians generally keep their work and personal circles separate, and it's not normal for colleagues or partners to receive personal invitations.
Staying calm in public and not being carried away by emotions are common virtues for Norwegians, with direct but calm forms of communication, and a dislike for authoritarian and disrespectful methods. Body language is reserved, which leads other cultures to classify them as cold or suspicious, something far from reality.
Equality is an important point for Norwegian culture, and title or positions do not mean much in social relations, since pride is not necessarily appreciated despite the fact that there is a sense of individualism in people's lives to seek your personal and professional goals. Punctuality is another of the characteristics sense of daily life in Norway and is observed both at business level and appointments in government or medical offices. Even in social gatherings with friends. About social gatherings or parties, it is not usual for adults to bring children, and doing so can be considered irresponsible. The Norwegian salute and show thanks with a firm handshake, and the kiss or hugs is reserved for the closest friends.
Vill man älska storyn ha? Hej fagraste vindar jalle! Der han ville gull harpa vassella. Faderungen hade luster hemmani.
Norwegian is a Nordic language spoken mainly in Norway, where it is an official language, along with Swedish and Danish. Norwegian forms a continuum of regional and local variants that are more or less intelligible with each other. These three continental Scandinavian language, along with the two Iceland language, Faroese and Icelandic, and other extinct language, constitute what are known as Nordic language, also called North-Germanic or Scandinavian. Faroese and Icelandic are no longer mutually intelligible to Norwegian in spoken form, as continental Scandinavian differs considerably from them. Thanks. I love you.